Close that door. Alright, I'm about to come in. What did I say?
You gotta push yourself.
Alright, but what's the key to all of this?
You gotta keep trying.
Alright, it's more than that. What I just said to you. What I explained to you.
And you can't be lying.
To who?
To yourself.
And why?
You're not gonna make him do better.
But why? What's the importance of that?
You gotta keep pushing.
Why? What's the key to all of that? What you got to do?
Gotta keep on doing it.
No, what you got to do?
Focus.
No. What's the key to everything? I said it a bunch of times. What is the key to everything? You ain't paying attention? Is you listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
Can you hear?
Yes, I
Do you have ears?
Yes.
All right, then how you don't know what I just said? What did I say the key to everything is?
Keep pushing yourself.
No, what did I say is the key to everything?
You gotta keep going.
No, what's the key to everything? Everything I said, one thing I made clear to you was one thing. What's the one thing?
Stop lying to yourself.
Why? What would you have to do to stop lying to yourself?
Stop lying. You gotta get more help.
No, what you got to do?
Focus.
What you got to do?
Keep going.
No, you done said all those things. What else do you remember? You're not paying attention. You have to listen. But you can't listen from your ears, you gotta listen from your heart. See, there's gonna have to come a time when you and your heart, see your heart. See, that's when you say, I'm tired of this. I got enough. I'm ready to make it a change. See, I told you the key to everything is you got to make up your mind. Nobody else. See, because if you ain't made up your mind, if you in your mind have not decided that this is what you want to do, then no matter who pushes you and makes you try to stay focused, but if your mind ain't made up that you want it, ain't nothing gonna happen. So if you lying to yourself and you ain't made up your mind, you might as well stop. Cause ain't nothing gonna happen. But if you're truthful to yourself and in your heart, see, that's when you say you got heart. See, most people think having a heart just means fighting. I ain't scared, I got heart. That's what most people think. But heart is being real with yourself. That's the hardest motherfucker in the world. That's the toughest man in the world. So you got to be real with yourself and you have to make up your mind to make the change. That's the real deal. When you say, I'm tired of not being able to read, and you make up your mind and you say, I'm going to learn to read. See, no matter who pushes you, when you get tired of not being able to do something and you decide that you want to be able to do it, you'll do it. No matter what. Because you ain't going to care about what nobody think. You ain't care about nothing but you accomplishing that goal. When you make up your mind like that, that's when you'll make everything happen. But if you ain't made up your mind like that, if in your heart you ain't tired, see, then you can keep going like how you is for a little while longer till you realize that at 20-something years old, ain't nobody gonna buy you nothing. Then you be walking around here with clothes that you had for the last 5 years and your pants up to your goddamn ankles and your shoes turned over and no food in your stomach. See, because at 20 years old, people stop doing for you. People say you got to do for yourself. No matter what.
Keep trying.
So at a certain point in time, you're going to have to realize, based on your height, that ain't nobody going to take you as a little boy. All that's done past. That's done. Ain't no more. So it comes down to one thing. What it come down to? The key.
You gotta push yourself.
Not push yourself. What do you have to do?
You Gotta change my mind.
You got to make up your mind that this is what you want. Not what everybody telling you need, but what you decide that you want for yourself. See, that's when it become real. See, that's when you could say you're becoming a man. See, other than that, then you're just a little boy. You're dependent on people and you're hoping on a fairy tale. All that Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, that shit is a lie. So all that is an illusion. None of that is real. The only thing come down to being real is what you decide for it to be real for you. See, that's being real with yourself. See, you gonna create the real. If you want bullshit, that's gonna be your real world. If you want a better life, that's gonna be your real world. But you got to be real with yourself. And you got to make it the real deal. See, nobody else can do that. Everybody else could tell you something. But if it ain't made up in your mind, then it's a lie. It's an illusion. It don't exist. It's not real. See, so when you want things to be real, you got to be real with it. Other than that, it ain't going to happen. That's when it come down to you deciding that you going to make it happen. See, that's God's self. See, that's when you know Jah. Because Jah give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The first beginning of knowledge is fear that you don't have knowledge. So you seek knowledge. Not fear God, but fear that you don't have knowledge. Because to have knowledge is to know yourself. And see, to know yourself is to be real with yourself. That's the beginning. And that's when you decide, I'm going to make it happen. Because by the divine will of Jah that is within me, I'll make it happen. So that means that then you accept the knowledge that's in you. And that's when knowledge becomes real. Because if you don't accept it, it'll never be real. It comes down to you accepting it.
Daddy.
Hey, come on in. Close the door.
Hey, Star.
Close the door. Close the door. Close the door.
Why I gotta close the door?
Cause we talking.
Oh, well, come on, Zeke.
Be all right. So that's when it becomes real to you. That's when God becomes real. Because then you walking in your true faith. Your true faith is accepting yourself as know yourself.
Yeah.
That's when you accept Jah. See, Jah is, if you add the letters up, the letter J is the 10th letter, the letter A is the first letter, the letter H is the 8th letter. That's 19. The 19th letter is S, which stands for Savior. That's when you learn to save yourself. See, that's self-savior, that's Jah. But that's knowledge. But that's when you make up your mind. If you don't make up your mind, ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. It's not gonna happen by accident. It's not gonna happen by just a stroke of faith. It's gonna happen when you in your heart. See, that's one love. That's when you love yourself. When you love yourself just enough to say, you know what? I ain't gonna let my shyness, I ain't gonna let no ego or no pride or no fear how people think gonna stop me. I'm gonna be strong. And that's when people know you're real. See, 'cause if you fake it, people see you faking. But they never tell you. See, 'cause they don't care for real. 'Cause most of them still faking themselves. So they ain't gonna want to expose it. 'Cause you might expose them back. See, that's when you step out the illusion. You step out of what we call Babylon. And you start walking in Zion. Because at that point in time, you've accepted Zion in your heart. So you have created your heaven. You've decided to create your heaven. You've decided to create your heaven because your heaven is your mind. That's your highest point. That's your heavens. At that point in time, you set your heavens free, then your blessings could come. Because you have made up your mind to do better. Until that happens, you don't get no blessing. Ain't nothing gonna change. It get worse. Till you accept it. That's all life about. Making you accept you. Making you become who you're supposed to become. But you can't be afraid to do it. You have to be a warrior in your heart. That's love. Because a warrior has love for his people. So he knows he has to make himself stronger so that he can help defend his family and his people. Because if he is not wise in knowledge, he can't help them. So they'll suffer too. He got to be the light so that he could see first. Then he could teach them to see so they don't have to suffer. But he has to make up his mind to do it. If he doesn't, it does not happen. That's Rastafari. That at that point in time, you have crowned yourself. And you have decided to crown yourself with knowledge and be real.
Rastafari.
That's the truth.
Rastafari.
But you have to give yourself truth. You have to decide you won't lie to yourself. And then you'll make up your mind. And then you'll do better. That's the point. It's just your mind. And you'll be powerful then. Eternally. Leave my hand alone, right? That's all it come down to. It come down to you. Yeah. It's called Asafo. Asafo is a warrior scholar. Because there's no warrior unless he's a scholar. He must have knowledge of himself. But the beginning of all knowledge is fear of not having knowledge. And if you do not seek it, it won't come. But you have to make that up in your heart to decide to do it. And then you seek it. And it becomes your strength. See? See, the monkey is the Tehuti, Thoth, the god of wisdom in Egypt. That's his symbol. He's the staff carrier. He's the wizard. He's the Merlin in the King Arthur story. But the rabbit is Heru.
That's a dog.
That's a rabbit that got long ears. We're gonna say Anubis. If it's the dog, then it's Anubis. Anubis is the keeper of the gateway. He's the resurrector. See, Anubis is a Messiah.
See that dog at them?
Anubis is the Messiah because he brings everything anew. Because when you don't have knowledge of yourself, that's when you're dead or you sleep.
Joshua,
you can't see. So when you can wake up and see, then
I gotta show Joshua something.
you resurrect. He's not gonna play with the toy. Joshua is too big. I know what you want to show him, but it's too big. He's too big.
I got to show you something, Daddy.
I know, but wait, let us finish talking. Can you wait? All right? Listen. Just listen. All right? Because you're going to have to listen to this one day, too. Right?
Right.
Because you're going to be a big boy like Joshua, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to have to know the same thing. So you might as well listen, too, now. Right? Okay? You got to listen. See, that's the key of life. The key of life is you. At that point in time, when you decide to be you, you'll be you. Everything you know that you could do, all the things you've seen about yourself, your dream, the power you know you really got, it's going to come. But you got to make up your mind and your heart. See, that's why they say love God with all that heart and mind and soul. Because God is who you are. God is the ever-living being that's in you. But you got to set it free. You can't enslave it. You can't be afraid. You got to awaken it. But you got to fight for that. And the beginning of that is being real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Tell yourself the truth. Don't lie to yourself. That's why I hit you. To tell you don't lie to me. Because you can't lie to me. I could see. You know what I'm saying? And you will have to learn to see. But you're going to only be able to see when you decide to see yourself. If you don't decide to see yourself, you can't see nothing else. Because if you're blind right here, everything else you can't see. So if you won't open your eyes to see yourself, you'll never see the world. You'll never know what's out there. You'll be stuck in your own box. See, that's all our stories about. The stories of Osiris, Isis, Asar, Aset, the king and the queen, King Alpha, Queen Omega, Father Time. All of that is about our resurrection. You know what I'm saying? All of that. gotta make up your own mind. So what's the key?
I gotta push myself.
What's the key?
I gotta change my mind.
Right. Now remember this. To change anything, you must change the vibration. Take the rattle. Change the sound. Words sound power. Words sound power. The word becomes the flesh. To change anything, you must change the vibration. Because if you change the vibration, see, you change it. But if you change the vibration,
it would become evil.
see? So to change anything, you must change the vibration. But to change the vibration, you must change your mind.
And if it's evil.
You must change your mind. If you change your mind, you could change anything. So all of the things that you think that's wrong, you could change them by changing your mind, making your mind stronger, seeking knowledge. Don't blind yourself.
I changed my mind.
Have your heart ready. Because in your heart, you have to be tired. You have to want change. At that point in time, your mind will seek it from the heart. And all that you seek will come to you. It's going to open up. But you got to want it. But if you ain't ready for it, you're going to want it from the heart. That's why you have to want it from the heart. See, that's the Messiah. That's the Savior. That's the Jesus. See, that's what Jesus represents. He represents that true love. That wanted change for the world. That's how you have to see it. So you have to become the Jesus. That's what your name means. You know that? You know that's what your name means? Jahshua is Yahshua. It's Jesus. See, that's the real name of Jesus. It's Yahshua. It's Joshua. So you have to know that. You have a strength in you, but you gotta find it. But if you don't find it, it ain't gonna come. Because it mean you ain't ready for it. You don't want it. See, people always want things, but they don't really want it in their heart. So you have to want it in your heart. You have to make it come. And it'll come. That's our science. That's all our African traditions was about. Moving and changing everything. Because we was the masters of this. We wasn't born to suffer. He said, now one of your children shall beg of bread. All your children shall know themselves. That's the living eye Rastafari. That's how you have to think. Listen. Listen to the song. Shake it. Wrong. Listen. Hold on, let's see.
Stop letting me, doggy.
So you understand? So that's why your history was important. That's why we have to know African history. Because African history reminds us that we were men and women that made up our mind to be one with God. And that was to seek that knowledge from the truth of our heart. And at that point in time, we found our connection. So when we walked on earth as God. We walked on earth creating everything that we wanted, living in happiness and peace. And we knew that love. We knew that eternal peace. Some people call it Islam. So that's why we even accept Islam. Some people call it Shalom. That's what the Jews say, Shalom. Some people call it Salem, the city of Salem. So they accept the order of Melchizedek because they enter into the holy city of Salem, of peace, which is themselves. Because you is the city that is built with neither hammer nor saw. You is the living temple. You is the city built by the hands of God. If they had known from which they had came, they would not have been lost on their journey, and they would have returned to that place. So I, as your father, tell you that you must return to the truth of yourself. Sankofa, that's returning unto your roots. And your roots is your African truth as a true and living God. But you must accept yourself. And from your heart, you must want change. Because at that point in time, you won't be what the world has forced you to be out of fear. You'll be what the Creator created you to be. Always. You understand? So that's why history was important. That's what His Imperial Majesty represented. His Imperial Majesty was that crown, that glory. It was your heights. It was to remind you of who you were. You see what I'm saying? That's that living truth. That has to return. But in your heart, you have to want that. And you have to be true to that. And you have to fight for it. And you have to give up a lot of things to be it. You know what I'm saying? And you have to decide that. And see, that's when you change everything. When you start thinking like that, you want to learn to read, you'll learn to read. Because you know your power is in knowledge. Because you'll accept that. And you'll push yourself. Nobody gonna tell you. You won't put a book down till you can figure it out. You won't stop reading and studying your alphabets until you figure it out. Because as you figure it out, you'll become happier. See, that's when people get knowledge, they get happier. It's not a problem. It doesn't bother them. They get happy because they know they're getting their strength back. See, when you learn to get stronger here, you're gonna get happier. It's your blessing. That's the key. You know what I'm saying? That's your key. I mean, that is your key. So when you look at the history and you hear what Bob and them was saying and they was talking about, they telling you to remember yourself. Why you gotta be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? I could have let you work. I buy the stuff and sell it. Well, I can't sit you to no place to sell it if you can't count the money. You can't understand the products. You got to be able to speak. You have to want power. You understand? But you have to train yourself for this now. I can tell you, and I can say I'll help you, but you got to make up your mind that is your time. You know what I'm saying? That's when Heru, the hero, comes. When you decide that the hero gonna come, then you're gonna save yourself. You're gonna be that 19. That 19, that means knowledge is born. 1 is knowledge, 9 is born. So knowledge is born. When you decide to seek that knowledge, let's do it with silver and gold. When you decide that, that's what the Bible telling you. They say, Jesus, what you doing? We've been looking all over for you. He 12 years old. He said, he in the temple. He said, I'm doing my Father's work. Because he was at that age determined to do his work. But he had to educate himself. He had to learn. Nobody had to tell him.
I could carry 2 balls.
Not in the prayer room. Put your chair in front of the door. That's good. So now talk to me. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
I can't hear you now. Don't you get no creepy throat. You got to be able to talk. Be a man. You's a lion. You ain't no cub no more. So you have to act like it. You have to accept that. You can't become that if you don't accept it. You understand that? You will always be a cub if you think like a cub. At some point in time, you have to say you's a living lion. You got to decide that. People could tell you that, but you have to decide that. In Africa, they were kings at the age of 13. Age ain't nothing. It determines where you decide to be at. See, you were supposed to have this conversation at 12. See, you're going to have a son or a daughter soon, and you're going to have to know this. I was in prison, so I didn't get to tell you. At 5 years old, you're supposed to go through your first rites, where you go through a ceremony that teaches you to use your mind, because the number 5 is the time of the mind. And it's usually an African ceremony that kids have to figure out their way through, like a maze. And they got keys, and you give them things that they use to help them get out, but they have to use their mind, and they do it. 5 years old, that happens. 7 years later, at 12 years old, you're taught to love your culture. So you have to demonstrate some type of love for your culture. So through the arts, which usually are arts. Later on, Aya, give it back to your mama. Give it back to your mama. Tell her to read it. So that was at 12 years old. You would be taught love. The number 12 is, the 12th letter is L, love. 5 is your equality, it's your power. But the number 5 symbolizes mind. And after 12, 7 years later, see, everything is sevens. 5, 12, here come your 7. Boom. Your 7 here is 19. So at the age of 19, you're supposed to go through knowledge born. You're supposed to be learning that you're your own savior. So usually it was a rites of passage where the males were usually sent out into the jungle and dropped off somewhere they ain't never been at, and they would have to make it back home. And that means they would have to go out there and struggle. And they'd have to learn to survive. And when they make it back, they would understand why the village was important. Because they seen the comfort that the village gave. But the village only existed because men and women decided to use knowledge and wisdom to build that comfort. See, if you never use your knowledge and wisdom, you'll never have the village for protection. That's what the village symbolized. See, so when you look for protection and the comfort of home and family, you have to build that. Your family can never be strong if you're not strong. But you have to consciously build that. Tell Mama to turn my music back on. So you understand what I'm saying?
It was not by itself.
Okay, thank you, Aya. So you understand? See, it's all on you. You get help. But your help comes from you first. But everything will be a lie. Because everything is based on you if you have not made up your mind. if you have not made up your mind. So me as your father, I'm asking you to make up your mind. See, because if you want what you're supposed to have, you got to make up your mind. So talk to me. Why is it hard for you to make up your mind? Why has it been hard? I can't hear you. You got to talk. You got to know something. I tell you about that. Open your mouth and speak. If you talk halfway like you open your mouth, it's like you're afraid to speak. You must never be afraid to speak. The only reason you could be afraid to speak is if you're not speaking the truth. But if you're speaking the truth, you're never afraid to speak. That's why they tell you in the book that Moses was, and they say Aaron spoke for him, but that was meaning when Moses, Aaron represented the priesthood, but Moses represents mind. When the mind accepted its duty as a priest, see, you know what a priest is? A priest keeps the temple. A priest keeps the house. A priest keeps the house of God. So that's when your priestly or your mind decides to keep yourself in your godly path. So as long as you on your path of knowledge of yourself, and you being truthful with yourself, and in your heart you really want better, and you seeking it, you know what I'm saying? And you seeking it, and you seeking to make that change happen, to get wiser, being able to read, write, count, everything, so that you can produce a reality. You from your heart doing that, oh, you got all the power. That's you being the keeper of the way of God. That's what a Savior does. He saves the nation. Because then you become light, because other people will see what you do. Your brothers, your sisters will see what you do. And they'll change. And they'll be better. But you got to decide that. See, that's when you become real with yourself. See, that's all the wisdom of every book. That's the Proverbs. See, seek knowledge and wisdom. And wisdom shall hew out her pillars and make you a temple of the Father. See, that's all everything talking about. So that's the only thing it is truth with yourself. If you remember that and you always speak truth and you always live truth, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Because at that point in time, you'll know when to stand strong, and you know when to be humble. You'll know when not to allow your ego to get in the way, and you'll know when to exert your pride. So you'll know when to do those things, because you'll be doing it from the truth of your heart. So you never have to question yourself. If you live by that, you're always all right. That's the power. You understand? So never be scared to speak. To speak from your heart. If you don't know, if it was hard, if you didn't know how to push yourself, you just have to say it. See, that's when you get past it. But if you can never speak it, that means it's bound you. You understand? So when people ask you, they say, well, what was wrong? What was wrong? Speak it. Let it go. Gain your power. Because that way you'll learn from things and won't be bound to them. So you can get past mistakes. Because mistakes gonna come. But mistakes that are done in the truth of your heart are always just lessons for you to learn. So you'll never be upset for learning. So you'll never be bound to it. They won't hold you down. Won't make you tired. So you got to remember this. Because everything come back to you. The truth in your heart. Truly wanting change. wanting to see better. Tired of seeing people suffer. Hate to see people poor. Hate to see people don't know no better. See, that's your reality. It's all where you decide in your mind. And truth is not foreign to people. Because when you deal with it for real, others gonna know it. See, so it won't be something that's just kept to you. See, because people know when you like that. So that means everybody share truth. You understand? Everybody see truth. Because it's a light that's not shined everywhere. So when you stand on it, they'll know that you marked. And nothing can touch you. Because you use truth. You understand? So you have to create the mark of God on you. Or else you'll just be just a beast surviving like an animal. But hidden in you is the science of the 666, carbon, 18, the 18th dynasty, the 18 missing years of Jesus. When Jesus was 12, that's when they found him in the temple. And he said he was doing his father's work. But the Bible don't bring him back till he's 30 years old when he's baptized by John the Baptist. There's 18 years in there that they don't talk about. That's called the missing years. See, that's your missing truth. See, you don't know these things. They were taken away from you before you was born. But now you have a chance to learn them. But you can't learn nothing if you can't read. And if you don't know math. If you don't have an understanding of science. And if you don't want to know the history. See, because a person who wants things to get better has to know how they got messed up. So you're going to have to know how to do these things to unravel your way. Unless you just want to stand in the corner and just shrivel and die. See, warriors in their heart, they don't want to die like that. See, so when we say we real with it, and we'll go, and we warriors, and we'll fight for our family, that's the real fight. Because if you don't know that fight in your heart, then you lying to yourself. Then everything that you believe that you're standing on is a lie. That means it don't exist. Meaning it's not real. So it decides on what you decide to make real. What do you decide to make real? Because you could live the lie, but you just be living the lie. But when you decide to make everything real, you'll give life to your truth. And your truth is God. You know that. No matter what they tell you about any religion, all they're going to tell you is your truth is God, son. And so you know when you live by your truth, you produce your God. And you'll be blessed then. But you got to seek knowledge. My people perish due to a lack of knowledge. If you don't seek knowledge, you perish. That's just real. So when you make up your mind that you want change, that you're tired of dying, and you're ready to live, then you'll be the Messiah. Because you're going to resurrect. Because other than that, we just dying. When you decide that light come on, we resurrected. That's knowledge and wisdom. That's applying what you know.
Turn off the TV.
I did.
And what I'm hearing.
So tell me,
The other TV on radio.
your mind. are you going to be able to make up your mind?
And when you ready to talk, you need to do the right thing,
Yes.
Can't hear you.
Yes.
Yes, what? What you going to do?
Change my mind.
You got to remember that you said that, not me. You got to remind yourself that every day. That's the only way it becomes change. You can't forget. You got to remind yourself every day. And you got to push yourself from your heart. Like I say, when you coming from your heart, you don't need nobody to tell you. If you got to start with your ABCs and do whatever you got to do, that's what you're going to do. Step by step. You're going to do whatever it takes for you to accomplish your goal. And ain't nobody got to push you. Because in your heart and in your mind, you have changed your mind that you want this. Not nobody need to tell you. You tired. Your heart is tired of that suffering. And you decide to make a difference. When you do it from there, everything moves. See, because that's when you show you got faith. See, because then you acting. See, if you ain't got no faith, you just lie to yourself and stay in the corner. See, that ain't no faith. See, you have to believe in yourself. Because your true self is what? What's your truth? God. So when you believe in yourself, you believe in the God in you. And at that point in time, that's what you pull out. So then you come to supreme knowledge. And you'll be the wisest man on the planet. And you'll be so knowledgeable that you'll be able to make many things change. At that point in time, you'll have to teach others the same thing. But you got to make up your mind right now, for real, that you gonna push past your fears and you gonna walk in faith and believe in yourself. Love yourself. Love your God. Truly, from your heart and your mind. And then you get all your blessings. See, that's your magic. That's what our family share a family. That's your magic. If you remember it, you'll have no problems. When you deal with people, if you remember it, they will always love you. If you remember it, nothing can stop you. Remember your mind. That's all you got to remember. Remember, it's your mind. If you make that up, the waters of life ain't no problem. Smooth sailing. Smooth sailing. That's all it's about. Our family lineage comes all the way from Ethiopia, Abyssinia. After the meteorite showers, our family came from the underground cities. They were part of the sacred marriage ceremony for the bloodlines that would keep the sacred order of God on earth. That blood lineage then went all the way up into Egypt. Our blood lineage goes to what is called the 18th dynasty. And this 18th dynasty came from the blood lineage of Ahmosis the first and Nefertari. Ahmosis and Nefertari had a son named Amenhotep. Amenhotep. Have you ever seen a picture of Amenhotep? Moses and Nefertari had a son named Amenhotep. Amenhotep and them ran the invaders out of Egypt. That's the times of Moses. Amenhotep and his people that he took up there to fight with him then held down the gateway into Egypt. And they called that land Bashan, or some people call it Jerusalem. And the people that lived there with Amenhotep, they were all called Mosians, later on called Hasmoneans, later on called Nazareans, later on called Maccabees, then also called tribes of Judah. And then again, some invaders came to that land, and many of the Hasmoneans were already traveling over here to America, because we weren't on just one land. Remember, we are the seed of Miriamun, the beloved of Amun. We are the Afura. See, these is Egyptian names and words, but it's our history. It's who we are. It's where we come from. So the blood lineages were leaving Egypt or Africa, coming over here to America. And they were over here in America. And many people call them by the names of Yamasee, Cherokee. But they were Indi. Indi means black. They were black people. See, that's our blood lineage. Turtle Island. That's why we're the turtle. This is called Turtle Island, America. And the ancient people were called the turtle, were described by the turtle, but they were also called Washita. But some people say Washita, but it's Twa. It's the Twa. The Twa is the ancient Put, or the ancient, what some people like to call them pygmies, the Twa people of Ethiopia. Ancient blood lineage, older than you can even believe. But it's who we are. So our connection is past time. But you can't know or understand none of this if you don't make up your mind to rise to that point. You got to make up your mind. Now I hear you say you're making up your mind. But I said the only thing you got to remember is you said it. Because when you say it, words sound power. You've willed it into existence. So it's going to push you. See, you said you've cast your own spell now. But to overcome one spell, you must cast another spell that's a higher spell. So somebody put a spell on you to put you to sleep so you didn't remember yourself. But now you have chose to cast a spell and remember yourself. See, spell is just what it is. It's just words. If you spell, you got to spell something, right? So you spelling something out. It's a word. But the word is vibration. Words sound power. But the word became flesh, and the word was with God, but the word is God. See, that's the Bible. You heard the preacher say it every day in church. The word became flesh. They say that's the word became Jesus. Jesus was the word. Right? I just told you your name is the real name. Jahshua. 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 So the word became flesh. But you gotta sound that. You gotta spell that out. Because if you don't spell it, it never exists. That's what called making up your mind. That's casting a spell. See, that's our magic. But we don't teach everybody that. You got to spell it out. So you got the power. However you want it to be. You decided to be here. You made up your mind back then that you wanted to be here. You here now. Just like a blink of the eye. You remember one day you on the phone?
They don't come down there and go to school or something.
I said, boy, you go to school anyway. What you talking about? But you sat the spell out. Now you here. Because that's what you wanted from your heart. You might not have understood it. You might not have been sure. But you wanted it. Right? Okay. So now you here. So you have to now complete your journey. You came here looking for something. I gave it to you now. Now you got to do something with it. Those are called family jewels. Family jewels is not money or wealth or property or anything. Family jewels is the wisdom of the family handed down from one generation to the next. If the wisdom dies, then the family is doomed. Somebody got to carry it, and they got to hand it down. So that means somebody got to seek it from their heart. Every generation got to have somebody